Hi everyone, Stephen Lee here. This past Wednesday night, the SBA just released additional guidance in regards to PPP Round 1 recipients and the possibility of them requesting an increase on PPP Round 1 loans. I'm going to be going over the following 4 questions in regards to this new guidance. The first question is, when will lenders be able to approve an increase on First Draw PPP loans? Number 2 is, who does not qualify to request an increase on their PPP First Draw loan? Number 3 is, who does qualify for a possible loan increase? Number 4 is, how and where to request a loan increase. As there's a lot of information to cover here, I've divided into 2 parts. This is part 1, and then part 2 I'll continue. So let's get right into it. Originally, a PPP loan, so First Draw PPP loans, you are not allowed to request a loan increase unless you are a partnership or a seasonal employee. But the additional guidance that was just released actually allows for, expands the definition of who qualifies for a possible increase of their First Draw PPP funds. So due to many factors, there were actually some businesses during the pandemic that actually did better than they did before the pandemic, right? So we know that there are some businesses that did better in 2020 versus 2019. This video is especially important for you if you received a PPP Round 1, because you may fall into that category where your business actually did better in 2020 than it did in 2019. And the problem there is, if you're going for round 2 of the PPP loan or the second draw, then if your business was not able to show a minimum 25% decline in gross receipts, this is the right video for you. So let's dive right into those 4 questions, okay? The first one is, when can lenders approve an increase on First Draw PPP loans? Okay, so basically starting when? That's going to be starting January 25th, 2021. Okay, so it's in about 2 weeks, a week and a half, 2 weeks from now. That's when lenders can actually start to approve an increase in First Draw PPP loans. Number 2 is, who does not qualify? Okay, the second question is, who does not qualify? Basically, those PPP recipients whose PPP loans have already been forgiven. Okay, so if you have already submitted for forgiveness for your First Draw PPP loan and it's been forgiven, you can stop watching the video right now, because unfortunately you do not qualify for a request to increase that loan amount. Also, if the SBA has already approved forgiveness and sent payment to the lender that you received your PPP Round 1 funds from, then you do not qualify once again. Okay, so first off is, if your PPP loan has been forgiven from round 1, you do not qualify, but you may qualify actually for the second draw PPP loan. Okay, so do not be too discouraged. If you qualify for the second draw, that minimum 25% reduction in gross revenue year over year or quarter over quarter, then you may qualify for that second draw. Remember, if this is the kind of content that you're looking for, there's going to be a ton of updates over the next few weeks in regards to EIDL, stimulus payments under the Biden's new plan, as well as PPP Round 1 forgiveness, PPP Round 2 applications. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button and to turn on your notifications. All right, so let's go over the third question. Who does qualify? Okay, there are 4 scenarios actually for those that qualify. There's actually 5 in total seasonal employees, but I'm not going to be covering seasonal employees. I'm going to be covering the first 4 scenarios. All right, scenario 1 is borrowers that have returned or repaid their First Draw PPP loan are eligible to reapply for the loan, provided that the lender reported to the SBA that you repaid back your First Draw before December 27th, 2020. So this is a scenario where you were qualified and you're approved for PPP Round 1 funds, you received them, and then you returned all of it back to the lender, because maybe you realized that either you were going to shut down your business completely, so a permanent closure, or you may not have been able to use the funds and you were scared that, because of a temporary closure or suspension of operations, you may not have been eligible to have your loan forgiven. So we do have clients that actually qualified and received funds, but they actually returned their funds back to the lender. So if that's you, you may be eligible now to reapply for that entire amount that you returned back to the lender. Okay. Remember, your eligibility is going to be based on current rules, okay, current PPP rules. And so if you returned all of your funds back to the lender, if you fall under this scenario, then you're actually considered a new first-time draw PPP loan applicant, okay? So you're going to be using the PPP first-time loan application, okay, because you returned all of it. The second scenario are borrowers that returned or repaid a portion of their first draw PPP loan, and the SBA has not remitted a forgiveness payment to the lender which you received your PPP funds from. Okay, you may request an increase for the repaid amount. Okay, so remember, the lender has to have reported that you repaid or returned a portion of your first draw PPP funds, okay, before December 27, 2020. So let's go over a numerical example here. Let's say in round one, your business was approved for $100,000 of PPP funds, okay? And then let's say due to your calculation, your analysis, you return, let's say 20,000 or 20% of those funds back to the lender, okay, or back to the bank, because you may have thought that, hey, I might not be able to have this entire loan forgiven because we're going to cut back on payroll and our eligible expenses because of a suspension of operations or a temporary closure requirement. Whatever the case may be, you may be in the scenario where you returned a portion of your PPP funds. Okay, if that's the case and the bank reported that to the SBA before December 27, 2020, then you can actually request for that amount that you returned back to the lender. You can actually request that amount back to you. Okay, so for this example, let's say you received, once again, $100,000 originally. You return $20,000 of that $100,000 back to the lender. Okay, now if that's you, you can actually request that $20,000 that you returned from the lender back to you. Okay, so now you know that, hey, I'm gonna need it. I returned it, but I'm going to need this for my operations. You can actually request from your lender the returned amount. Remember, this scenario is actually really important because going back to the beginning of this video, there are some businesses, once again, that did much better in 2020 than they did in 2019. So they won't qualify for round 2 of PPP or second draw PPP funds. So this may be a solution for those of you who fall into this scenario or into scenario 1, where you returned all of the funds, right? Where you repay back all of the funds before December 27th, okay? So these first 2 scenarios, there may be some of you out there that fall under here that do not qualify for round 2 because you don't see a drop, a 25% drop minimum of gross receipts, okay, when applying. All right, I'm gonna continue part 2 of this video in the next video, so you wanna stick around. Thank you again for watching, and don't miss part 2 of this video. Bye.